Hello, 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 and how are you tonight? How are you doing tonight? I did promise that I was going to do a live, but I decided not to do the live because I'm going to do a live tomorrow with my pro wrestler. So since I'm going to do that live at 2 o'clock tomorrow, I decided to go ahead and just do the video and post the video tonight. And also, I did not do the live because my family gave me a big surprise. But first, thank you. This is Teresa Graham, and welcome to Destination Mountaintop. Doing a pop-up video tonight. Thank you and welcome. But my family, my birthday's coming up March the 29th, and my oldest daughter, had called me earlier this week and said, Mom, be ready. I'm going to take you to dinner on Saturday because I have to work on your birthday. So I'm going to take you to dinner on Saturday and dress up cute. We're going to take some pictures. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And I was really excited to spend some time with her. Okay, what time do you want me to be ready? Be ready between 3 and 4. Okay. So one of the granny girls comes this morning and she's like, what are you wearing? I says, oh, I don't know. She pulls out this dress I have on it. She says, I haven't seen you in this. I says, I've worn it, but it's been a while. And, go ahead and throw it in the washing machine because it's been a while. And, we talked and kicked it around and, that was that. And day passes on and my other daughter calls and she's like, okay, are you looking forward to your dinner? Yeah. And, at one time during the day I tried to call everybody and I made the joke, well, what is it? Are you guys all on a group chat? And didn't include me because nobody's answering their phones. And everybody, laughed, no, we're doing this and we're doing that. Didn't think anything about it. So 4:30 came and I called that youngest daughter again and says, well, I guess Kelly went to sleep or something and she's not here and I'm sitting here and I'm sleepy, waiting on her. And what are you doing? Oh, I'm in the bed with my husband and we're watching movies. I'm like, oh, well, that just sounds so nice. And your retirement, boy, you guys are really enjoying, being retired and at home together. Boy, that just sounds nice. And let me holler at him. And, oh, God, I'm just loving you guys and what you got going on, just talking. So in walks the other granny girl. Granny, are you ready? Well, yeah, well, where's your mom? Look, by the time I get you there, she'll be ready. Okay, so I'm just talking as I usually do, running my mouth about nothing. And I look up and I see we're going towards the daughter's house. And I'm like, well, maybe she has to go pick up something. And still not just oblivious. So as we turn down my daughter's street, I'm seeing all these decorations and stuff. And I'm like, wow, I wonder what her neighbors have going on. Still not thinking nothing. Wow, they really got it decorated up over here. Mexican quinceañera. They really got it decorated up. Wonder what they have going on. We pull up in front of my daughter's house. And I see all the people. It still didn't click. And I'm like, well, what? Is this Lily's gender reveal or what? You guys, they planned me a 63rd surprise birthday party. Oh my God in heaven. These folks kept this secret, decorated up in these beautiful colors with the spring flowers things that I would love, and the food and the drinks, and oh my God, the red carpet for me to walk down, and nobody would send me the tapes or the videos, probably because they don't want me to post it on Facebook. They say I post everything on Facebook. And I had to come out the truck, get out. I'm scared to get out the truck because it's still not comprehended. Do you guys know, I've never, ever, ever had a birthday party in my life. This is my first birthday party. And they planned this, and they all kept the secret. It was so beautiful, so exciting. Everything was so well planned and put together. And I just thank God for I would not trade my family with their crazy selves for nothing in this world. I would not trade them for anything. Yes, they mine, and I claim them, and I would not trade them for anything. From the littlest one to the biggest one, they all mine, and I claim them. From the craziest one to the loudest one, to the wacky doodles, to the stupidest ones, they all mine, and I claim them. And I love them so dearly. And they love me. Oh my God, you guys, it was just beautiful. And they did not realize I had never had a birthday party. So this was my first birthday party. My 63rd birthday. It was my first birthday party. And I thank God to live to see my 63rd birthday. Because some things have happened that I shouldn't be here to live to see my 63rd birthday. Even up to the past week or two, some things have happened that I should not be here. And I'm recovering from. And sorry, Pastor, I won't be in church tomorrow because I'm recovering from a fall, and I still not quite recovered from the pneumonia yet. I feel okay, but I'm still not quite myself yet. So I'm gonna hang out at home and let myself heal up totally. Even at the party, I enjoyed myself. Oh, I enjoyed myself. But I could still feel myself, I'm not up to full strength. And, but I just, it was like, are you ready to go home? Yeah, I need to go home. And just, kind of rest. But you guys, my. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. I just loved it. I just loved it. Told my grandson, come here, give me a hug. Oh, what I say that for? When he hugged me, it was like, oh, okay. Oh, he hugged me tight, and it hurted when he hugged me because of that fall, and up in there, whatever it is, it hurted, and I was like, okay, thank you. But he said, I didn't do nothing. I said, you here, though, and that just makes me feel so good. You here. And he stayed the whole time, and you here. And you here doing errands and whatever, and I know you did something. So, I love you. Oh my goodness, you guys, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. and I just thank them for that. But getting to why I was going to do this video, away from me and my little crazy family, I want to talk about, what I want to talk about is I made a post. Ooh, that's so pretty. I made a post earlier. Shared a post earlier from Dr. Faith. Faith Wokoma. I hope I'm not butchering your name. Wokoma. Wokoma. I'm just gonna spell it. I'm probably butchering it, and I'm sorry if I am. So I just like to call her Dr. Faith. And I love her, and I want to tell you guys something. I want to start off by saying this. My younger sisters that are in ministry, the women who are in ministry that are younger than me, I love them. I love what they're doing. I love their energy. I love their tenacity. I love their gifts. I love the way they go forth. I love the things that they're doing. I learn so much from them. I respect what they do. There is no jealousy on my part of anything that they do. I can sit back in the cut and I learn from them. My pastor is younger than me, and I learn from him. Age to me does not mean that I can't learn from you, because there are things that you have been gifted in, and things that you have, while I was bull twinking around and going through depressions and going through life, you were sacrificing and you were studying and you were sitting at the feet of your teachers, and you were going through what you had to go through to learn and to increase your giftings and do the things that you had to do to get the knowledge that you have. So I respect that. I respect that, and I respect what you did, and I respect your grind. And I don't look at, oh, well, because I'm 63, I know more than you. No, that does not mean I know more than you. You have put in some work that I have not. There are some things that I may know that you don't know. There may be some things that I know from experience that you don't know. But there are a whole lot of things that you know that I don't know. And I'm willing to sit and listen. Now, one of the things that I have come to realize is that the linguistics, a lot of what I thought that I didn't know, the way that we say things, the terminology that we use, a lot of things that I thought that I did not know. Once I sit in on the class or once I sit in on the teaching, I find out that, oh, okay, well, I do know this. It's just that you say it in a different way. You use a different terminology, but I know the foundation. I know that how to do that. I know how that works. I know how to I know the cause and effect and how to bring up, I can make that thing happen. I know how to put that jelly on that thing and make that thing happen. I could put that butter on that toast. But you use a whole different terminology. I say, I know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. Can you make $1 out of 15 cents? Oh, yes, I can. I can make $1 out of 15 cents. My mama taught me how to make $1 out of 15 cents. Every black girl that grew up in the ghetto know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. But you come along and you say it in a different way and make it sound pretty. And you can take that thing and you can put that sparkle on it. And because you put that sparkle on it and you talk with that charisma, we think you saying something totally different. We think that you are saying something totally different and talking all over our heads and all educated, as they say. And we sitting there like, girl, what is you talking about? And couldn't find out you saying the same thing. I know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. So, you know, I'm saying all that to say, I love my younger sisters in ministry. And I love their tenacity. I love their education. I love the things that they teach. I love that how they have learned their craft. I love how they learn their giftings. I love that they fast, that they pray, that they know what they're talking about. And they run circles around me. But when I was that age, I could run circles around people. And I love them. But Dr. Faith, she made this post that she said a great reminder from another person. And it was about basically these words. And I'm not going to read everything verbatim. But one of the things it says that you're not bipolar just because you're moody and have a difficult because you're moody and have difficulty managing your emotions. You're not OCD because you like things clean and your spice cabinet alphabeticalized. Okay? Your ex was not a narcissist just because they were manipulative and abusive. Now, catch the words being thrown out here. You don't have dissociative identity, catch the words, disorder, but I promise neither do I. Maybe I will go ahead and read all of this. Every bond over trauma is not a trauma bond. Every bond over trauma is not a trauma bond. Every bond over trauma is not a trauma bond. Every bond over trauma is not a trauma bond. Every bond over trauma is not a trauma bond. Get that? Having periods of sadness does not mean you are clinically depressed. Having periods of sadness does not mean you are clinically depressed. Having periods of sadness, Having periods of sadness. Having periods of sadness does not mean you are clinically depressed. Having periods of sadness does not mean you're clinically depressed in all cases. That don't mean that. Okay? Listen to the words. Sometimes getting nervous does not mean you have an anxiety disorder. I get nervous from time to time. I do. That's why I have an office full of painting stuff and crocheting stuff. Y'all know, y'all been on a tour of my office. I got crocheting stuff. I got quilting stuff. I got painting stuff. I have sewing stuff. I have, oh my God, drawing stuff, watercolor stuff, just all kind of stuff, all kind of craft stuff. And let's not talk about the books, and let's not talk about the gardening. And my hands are, it's always something to do with my hands, because I keep my hands busy, and I keep my great-grands' hands busy. I keep their hands busy. Let's keep our hands busy. Let's do something. You doing too much. Let's get busy. Let's be constructive. Let's do something with this nervous energy. They get mad at me when I take Zemiah to the store with me, because they say, you Zemiah, get on. I don't care if Zemiah touches things. If Zemiah walks down the aisle with me, Zemiah has to touch every single thing. That does not bother me. That's her thing. She has to touch it. She has to touch every single thing. She will literally stand there and straighten up everything in the aisle. She will touch it if it feels good in her hands. She will say, "Feel this, Granny." She will stop and give it a second feel. She will impulse buy because of how something feels. If that's her thing, let her do it. Let her feel it. What do I say? If it's breakable, don't touch it. Do not touch what you can't buy. Anything in the aisle you can touch, do not touch what you cannot buy. And she won't touch it. But if that's her thing, let her do it. What is it hurting you that she's touching these items? Why does that bug you so much? When she's with me, she does it. When she's with her Aunt Titi, she does it. And it does not bug us. She's sometime in back of us. She's sometime ahead of us. It only bugs you. So that's a you issue, not a her issue. Let her do her process. That's her process. That's her language. Now, you got to learn to listen to her language. That's my language. I had to feel. I had to have my hands on something. But does that make me OCD? No. But I guess if I talk to a psychiatrist, that would make me OCD, clinically something, and I'd be on a bunch of pills somewhere. Listen to the words now. Listen to the words. Difficult focusing does not mean you have ADHD. Because you have difficulty focusing. We all go through sometimes things in life where we have difficulty focusing. Does that mean we have ADHD? We're going to come back to that, okay? Got another story for that. Retire the word toxic, please, for all our sakes. You don't recover from or get over trauma. You learn ways to cope. You learn ways to cope that work for you. You learn ways to cope. You learn the ways to cope that works for you. And you do the best to go on to live a fulfilling life. Okay, I see what you're saying. You learn the ways to cope that works for you, and you learn to go and you go on to live you learn the best ways to cope that works for you, and you go on to live a fulfilling life. You don't get over it. You do not get over trauma. You just learn the best ways that works for you and go on to live a fulfilling life. But you don't get over trauma. It's not something you ever get over. And that's true. You can't counsel it out. You can't peel it out. You can't psychotherapy it out. You can't pray it out. You can't eat it out. You can't drink it out. You can't drug it out. You learn how to deal with it, how to cope with it, how to function with it, how to be at peace with it. And this is true. And the thing that I found is that all of this comes down to, we're going to stop right here. We're going to stop here and go backwards. Is playing the word game. And what happens is that we have gotten to the point to where we have used fancy words and pills to try to fix things. And now what's happened is that you put the Band-Aids on, and now the Band-Aids are starting to leak out. It ain't holding no more. The dam is starting to leak. You ever wonder why everybody seem like they're going crazy all of a sudden? And it's more mental health going on than ever. Matter of fact, the mental health is backlogged right now. You can't even, there are so many, there's not enough mental health professionals to go around right now. it's almost impossible to get an appointment with a mental health professional right now for counseling, for intake, for testing, for to get in a facility. Is almost impossible right now. The mental health system is overwhelmed right now. It is overwhelmed and it is imploding upon itself. But this is because everything that has been taught and all of these fancy words and all of this foolishness is coming home to roost. All of these things that have been, all of these words, they have been backfiring. We're going to back up here a little because I want to be very clear. Very clear. Very clear. Let's start where we finished. Trauma. Toxic. Dealing with trauma. As a survivor of trauma. As a survivor of trauma. You never get over trauma. You never forget trauma. It never is not something that can be loved out of you. It's not something that, like I say, pills can take away. Drugs do not take it away. Anxiety medication does not take it away. Counseling does not take it away. What takes trauma away is, and it does not take it away completely, but what happens is you begin to change and you learn to deal with it from a different perspective. And it's prayer and forgiveness. When you forgive the person who offended you, honestly, and when you forgive yourself. Because most of the time, even if you were a child who were offended, once you become an adult, some kind of way, you blame yourself for that offense. And I'm going to tell you, y'all know I am strictly transparent in the things that I say. Even, and I'm going to use, y'all gonna know y'all know what I'm talking about. Even if I abbreviate the terminology, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Even if you suffer from SA, and you know what I'm talking about, SA, because a lot of things, now Facebook and YouTube will not allow you to use the terminology. And when I post my videos, they not only go to YouTube, they go to, Facebook, but they go to YouTube also. And even though I don't have a big following on on YouTube, even if it's just one person watching, I don't want it to get flagged. But even if you suffer childhood SA, when you grow up, if you suffered that a lot, because of the stimulation, because of the sexual stimulation and the way your body responds, because anytime anybody touches you, your body is repeatedly, your body is going to react, and you begin to feel pleasure from that. Anybody will. Even as a child, you begin to feel pleasure, or you feel pleasure from that touch. Now, your mind will tell you, you're a kid, your mind will tell you something's not right about this, but also your mind will tell you, but something feels good about this. So then here you are, you start to grow up, you start to become a preteen, you start to become a teenager, and you start to develop your normal hormones and your normal feelings toward men as a young lady. Well, it becomes confusing then, because now you're developing normal hormones and normal feelings toward boys, and you got your tingle tangles going, but then it's like, but wait, these are the feelings that I was feeling when I was violated as a little one. You know what I'm saying? So then the guilt starts, because why was I enjoying that? Or even for some people, it will get to the point that they can only become aroused if they think back and fantasize about they can only get enjoyment or get aroused by fantasizing about those acts of SA or molestation. This is how that trauma will mess up your mind. And so then you're feeling guilty, you're feeling dirty, and that's where the self-blame and the self-hate comes in, because you don't understand why you are feeling attracted and feeling desire for something that hurt you, and for someone that hurt you. That makes no sense. So this is one place where counseling does come in good and helps you to fix that line. Now, this is where for a lot of people, this is where the church abuse starts. Because here you are as a woman, you're going to your pastor, and you think that your pastor, people will say, well, how do you fall into an affair with your pastor? That just don't make no sense whatsoever, because here you are a newbie in Christ, You're a babe in Christ. And then you have all these issues. And you thinking, well, I could go to my pastor. Or you're talking to another sister in the church. And you're telling her about these issues that you're having, and that sister is saying, you need to go to the pastor about this. The pastor can help you with this. That's demonic, and the pastor can help you with those demons, and he can cast them demons out. Yes, it happens. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. You need to open up to the pastor. He can help you with this. He can help you with this. Go to the pastor. Open up to him. He can help you with this. And you go to the pastor and you say, Pastor, look, this is what's happening, and I'm going through this depression, and this happened and that happened, and this is what I used to do, and this is what, and this is what, and this is what. And you open up to the pastor and you trying to get help, and the pastor sitting there looking at you, and the praise, and then he want to pray for you, and then after he pray for you, the pastor call you up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, Sister Teresa, I'm sorry I called you so late, but now let me ask you a question. Now, what was that you said that you used to do? And did you, now how did you say you had oral sex with him? Now, when you was out there in them streets, did you used to charge them men? And how much did you charge them? And now describe to me what you used to do. Man, look, don't make me start cussing. And then next thing you know, he called you the next night. 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, Sister Teresa, now reason I'm calling you, because I was wondering if you wouldn't mind. I know you came to me, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind trying that with me and letting me pay you. What? So then you go back and you tell, now look, sister, you told me to go to the pastor, and I went to the pastor, and now this is what the pastor doing. Then the sister crying and hysterical because couldn't find out that she been sleeping with the pastor for the last 10 years, and her and the pastor supposed to be getting married. And then now you all brokenhearted because you really liked it, the sister. And now the sister heartbroken because church folks and they mess. So so here we go. Trauma on trauma. So what I have found, y'all, is that when you have an issue, we going to the basics here, and I'm going to teach you something tonight. When you have an issue, and you know you got an issue, and I don't care what that issue is, I don't care how dirty you feel like you are, I don't care if you was raped, molested, I don't care if you feel like, well, I'm gay, I don't care if you feel like, well, I did this. I had an abortion. Um, I had a baby in the toilet, and I put the baby in the trash can, and I was 12 years old. I, 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 Lord, I stole my mama's rent money out her purse that time, and we got put out our house. But I stole that money. I'm trying to think of some of the craziest stuff I can think of, y'all. But just things that you know that you did, and you've been carrying around the guilt of that. Um, you know, things that people have done to you that have hurt you, and that stuff been tormenting you for years. You trusted somebody, and they just tore your life apart, and you still ain't never got back up on your feet behind that. And nobody still don't know the whole story behind it. But you trusted that person, and they tore your life up. And you trusted them. And if you tell it, folks still wouldn't believe it. When you got stuff like that, baby, all I can tell you is this. You give it to God honestly. I'm telling you what I did, what I had to do. I had to give it to God honestly. And I was about out of my mind. And I had to lay in that room, in that bed, me and God cussing, hollering out of my mind. And when I say I went over everything, every filthy thing, and you say I'm supposed to trust you, but you let this happen, but you say I'm supposed to trust you, and you let this happen, but you say I'm supposed to trust you, and you allow this, and this, and I'm out here in these streets by myself, my back up against the wall, and you let this happen. But I'm supposed to trust you. Oh, me and God had a Sunday kind of meeting. Oh, we had... Then I come to your house. I came to your house. And you let this what your people did. Your people. Oh, me and God had a Sunday come meeting. But guess what? I didn't tell him nothing he didn't already know. But I had to let that bitterness out. I had to let that anger out. I had to let that... I didn't realize all the bitterness and anger and hate I had in me. Years of bitterness and hate and anger. I had to let it all out. And after I let it all out, after I let that all out, After I let it all out, y'all, oh my God, I went from a child. You started with me. Oh God, you started with me from a baby. From a baby. From a baby. My own daddy didn't recognize me. My own daddy. He only recognized my sister. He left my mama because he didn't think I was his and I looked just like him. The only memory I got of my father is him not, him walking around a diner with my sister all in his arms. Ah, this is my baby, my baby, my baby. And I can remember myself as a baby sitting in the diner stool. The diner, you know how the diner back then they had the round the tables and the round red chair, the table, but it was the round red cushion chairs. Like you could sit like 4 or 5 people in them. And they were rolled and red with the buttons. And all I know is that the leather was red. And I'm sitting there in that red leather. And I just wanted to sink into that leather and melt into it and disappear. And I can remember that as a little child. I was a little child. I had to be, I wasn't even 2 yet. And I can remember that. And I can remember being in my crib and my mother and father fighting. And I can remember something going on with my mother's breast, and he cut my mother's breast, and the milk and blood shot out all over the place. And my Aunt Frances had to come get me out the crib, and they had to rush my mother to the hospital. I remember that. And I was a baby. But I have remembered, people say you shouldn't have memories of things, but there are things that you have memories of even as a baby when they are traumatic. And I remember that. And then the last memory of my father was when we left Virginia, moving to California. And my mother took us by this apartment to say goodbye. And he held my sister and hugged her and said goodbye to her. But he did not say goodbye to me. So, those are my memories of my dad. But after me and God, after we had this Sunday go meeting, let me show you what he showed. Let me tell you what he showed me. Hold on. After I'm finished with all that, and I finished telling God about how he did me, he showed me Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 6, 7, and 8. And then I came by, and I saw you all miserable and bloody, and I said to you, lying there helpless and filthy, live. Grow up like a plant in the field. And you did. You grew up. You grew up tall and matured as a woman, full-breasted, with flowing hair, but you were naked, vulnerable, and exposed. And I came by again, and I saw you that you were naked and ready for love and a lover, and I took you, and I cared for you, and dressed you. But the part that got me the most was that he didn't stop. He didn't nothing. He just passed by and said, live. And that right there was the start of my change. That one word right there. Because for months, every time I tried to read the Bible, it's like my eyes burnt. Every time I tried to pray, it was like sawdust in my mouth. I didn't want to hear nothing. But I don't know why. After I finished cussing and fussing and hollering and screaming, I opened the Bible right there. And those are the words that came to me. And I said, okay, Lord. And I started making videos the next day. And I've been making videos ever since. And when I started making videos, some people would say, why are you making videos? You sound like you need to go somewhere and heal. What you doing? Why are you doing that? What are you doing? And I've been making videos ever since. 4 years, been 6 years now. I've been making videos. 6 years. I've been making videos. 6 years now. I've grown, but my message has been consistent. It didn't take no pills. It didn't take no nothing. It just took prayer and forgiving. That night I forgave my offenders. Honestly, I forgave my offenders. And I forgave myself. But we had an hour. So my big mouth gonna come back. I'm gonna do this interview tomorrow, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk some more. Because we got a lot to talk about. And this not something we gonna skip through. But we gonna come back and I'm gonna talk some more. Because we just gonna be real. And I'll be back on, after I do the interview tomorrow at 2. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna get out in the garden again after I finish him. And when I come back from the garden tomorrow night, after I take my shower, I'll sit down and I'll make another video and post it, and I'll pick up where I left off. Okay, you guys? I love you. Bye-bye.